Yes! How goes it? How was your weekend? Did your favorite club win or did they lose? And no. Don't tell me. Let me just praise them or make fun of them in the weekend and rewind, or as I like to call it, word. And first up, it's the Arsenal, who I knew were going to win the Community Shield over Chelsea a mere 71 days after they beat the Blues in the same stadium for the FA Cup. And I'm sure you Gunners fans thought, I jinxed you. You were like, oh man, Jimmy picked us to win, which means we're gonna lose for sure. Why do you have to do that? Makes me so sad. But don't you ever doubt this face, ever. But that doesn't mean I have them pegged for greatness this season, which you guys will see in my Premier League preview tomorrow, because even though Arsenal have won 3 out of the last 4 Community Shields, they don't have anything to show for this first game of the new season success. That's what I call the Community Shield. They just win the first and last trophy of every season. They don't win the fun ones in the middle, like the League or the Champions League, or in this case for this season, the Europa League. Not sure if you guys think that one is fun or not. Maybe if you win it, it's probably pretty fun. Though I was happy to see Olivier Giroud make a difference when he came off the bench, because I think that's gonna be his role now. Permanent super sub who comes in and saves the day if Alexander Lacazette isn't playing well. Though I'm not sure if that's what he really wants to do with his life, being sloppy seconds to Alexander Lacazette. As for Chelsea, they're way too experienced to give up a set-piece goal with less than 10 minutes to go, and I don't care if they had 10 men, it's just unacceptable, and they ended up losing in penalties, so that has to be disappointing. And I'm gonna say this, I think Alvaro Morata is gonna be disappointing as well. I just don't know if he's gonna be the guy, so they should try to hold on to Diego Costa, even if he is because they're in the Champions League. That's just gonna make their schedule tougher, unlike last season when they didn't really have to worry about all that. And I just don't know if they have enough talented players that they haven't loaned out for their depth to handle the league and the Champions League. But we can talk about that a little bit more tomorrow in my league preview. And do you guys remember that time on Friday when I said that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang was gonna be a beast for Dortmund against Bayern in the DFL Super Cup, and that Dortmund would end up winning the game in penalties? Well, I was half right. Aubameyang was a beast. And if you haven't seen his goal, it is ridiculous, and I'll link all the highlights in the description just for you. And Christian Pulisic scored an opportunistic goal so he can keep that hype train going. Choo-choo! As the best American player that we have ever produced. But Bayern, despite missing several key players and having a pretty shit preseason, they proved that no matter what the circumstances are, like their first goal was maybe offside on the build-up, or if their game-tying goal in the 88th minute was ugly as f to take it into penalties, they still find ways to win games, which is an important quality to have, especially in the Champions League, because they're gonna win the league, and that's goes without saying. I don't even know why we're doing a Bundesliga preview. I mean, I should do a Bundesliga preview, but and now let's head to France, because maybe for the first time ever, that's where the action is. All thanks to 222 million euros for one special player and a couple of managers that I admire. But we're gonna start with the special player first. Now, after watching a Monaco team find a way to come back to win 3-2 against nothing Toulouse in their first game as defending champions, my attention was squarely focused on PSG. And not because Neymar was playing. He wasn't, because the French Federation didn't get their paperwork into La Liga or whatever, but because I wanted to see how PSG were going to line up. It was a 4-3-3 with Will Trapp eventually in goal. He didn't start this one. Then they had 3 Brazilians and a Kurzawa in the back line, Rabiot, I think I said that right, Verratti and Thiago Motta in the middle, and then Pastore, Di Maria, and Cavani up top. Now I think they'll take out Rabiot and Thiago Motta, put Matuidi and Draxler in, and then Neymar's gonna replace Pastore, and then PSG's starting 11 and their bench has become f***ing ridiculous. Also, I wanted to give some love to managers Marcelo Bielsa, who is now in charge of Lille, and Claudio Ranieri, who is now in charge of Nantes, because even though Lille beat Nantes 3-0 this weekend, I love that both of these guys are doing what they do best. Also, wait, time out. I want to give a shout out to the Dutch women's national team, because in the Euros in 2013, they finished last in their group. Then in the 2015 World Cup, they got 3rd in their group, and then they failed to qualify for the 2016 Olympics. So it seemed like underachieving was a problem for both the Dutch men and women before the women turned it up in the Euros this summer, taking down all the top countries along the way before beating Denmark 4-2 in the final, and that deserves our respect. Also, the second division in England began this past weekend, and despite the big matchup between Aston Villa and Hull ending in a 1-1 draw, which I previewed for the buzz around John Terry, it's Reading I'm most concerned with, because after manager Jaap Stam led them to being a penalty kick away from being promoted last season, which that would have been incredible. They lost to QPR 2-0 in the opening weekend, and they didn't look good. which makes me worried that the pressure to match last season's success could be too much for them this time around, because I think they snuck up on everybody last year. Actually, snuck is not a word, it's sneaked. Sneaked up. People say snuck. I say snuck too, I just said it. But sneaked is the proper pronunciation. I'm the captain of the grammar police. And now it's time to give some doppelganger love to Pedro Caixinha, my Latin twin who's in charge of Rangers in Scotland, also known as Latino. Well, that's what I call him, because he's gonna need some luck to try and catch Celtic this season. But a 2-1 win over Motherwell on the road is a good place to start. And another good place to start is winning the Portuguese Super Cup, because like I predicted, Benfica was gonna be way too much for Vitória, and they won 3-1. I said 4-1. Which is pretty much the same thing, to capture their 7th Super Cup ever. And this has to be a worrying trend for all the other clubs in Portugal, because, fun fact coming for you, Benfica have now won 12 out of the last 16 domestic trophies available, and that's what I like to call total world domination. All days die so filled with fear. Minus the world part. Oh, and did you hear about this? In League 2 in England, Yeovil Town suffered an embarrassing 8-2 opening day defeat to Luton after they went up 1-0. I mean, they must have thought there was going to be a pretty good day after they scored 7 minutes in, and it wasn't. So Yeovil apologized to all 258 traveling fans for this performance and refunded their money, which I guess is a thing now. You lose 8-2 and you have to refund the fans, because you guys remember when Arsenal lost 8-2 to Manchester United and had to refund 3,000 plus traveling fans? Of course, then they lost to Bayern 10-2 over 2 legs and didn't do anything for the fans. So I guess that means that 8-2 is the official refund traveling fans scoreline. 10-2 is just, you don't even say anything at that point. You just want to go hide and not do anything. Did I already make Arsenal jokes today? How many have I made? I don't know. Now say what you want about the video assistant referee, but he or she is here to stay and make the right calls, even if one of Vitesse's players was taken down in the Feyenoord box by Feyenoord's captain Karim El Amadi, and no penalty was initially given by the referee, and then the Dutch champions went on the break, and 20 seconds later they hit the back of the net in a well-worked counterattack for a 2-0 lead. But then the VAR was like, yo, center ref, check out your phone and blowing it up with text. You gotta check out this call. So the center ref looked at the video, and 40 seconds later, he decided that it was in fact a penalty, so he called Feyenoord's goal back and gave Vitesse a penalty, which they buried to make it 1-1, which was the right thing to do. It was totally the right thing to do. You guys can check the link in the description. It was an easy penalty to call, so I'm not sure how the center ref missed it the first time. He was standing right there. Fortunately for Feyenoord, it didn't matter anyway, since they won the Dutch Super Cup, which is now known as the Johan Cruyff Shield, in penalties. Did you guys get all that? And okay, suckers, how about this? I predicted that New York Red Bulls striker Bradley Wright Phillips would have a brace against NYCFC in the New York Derby, and I was right. I'm a predicting genius. But I said the Red Bulls would win 2-1, and they would have if NYCFC did not have reigning MLS MVP David Villa on their team, because he put his club on his back with less than 20 minutes remaining. He scored 2 goals in 3 minutes, including an incredible mazy dribbling effort, which ended with him banging one home with his 5-star weak foot to notch his first ever hat trick in MLS and to help NYCFC get the full 3 points. And that dude is a legitimate hero. He must have put in a lot of time with the squat machine, because he's carrying the team not only in this game, but pretty much all season. I mean, he's just like, squats. Hold on, guys. I gotta do some more squats so I can carry you guys into the playoffs. Yeah, this is me doing squats on camera. That's what it looks like, right? That's what it looks like. And finally, as you mis amigos may or may not know, I'm a proud supporter of Tijuana Cholozolos in Liga MX, because my friend Hercules Gomez once played for them, and he got me one of their real jerseys with Conradinho on the back. And now I'm a fan for life, or I'm a fan of their equipment manager for life, who actually did all the printing. So I can't tell you how embarrassing it is when there's only one team in Liga MX that hasn't scored a goal in the Apertura this season. And guess who it is? Guess who it is? It's a goddamn no mames way Zolos Cholos, man. It's simple, guys. Ball into the net. Keeper digs it out while you go celebrate in the corner. Make that happen. However, in an effort to balance out my negative with some positive, I do want to give a shout out to Lobos Buap, who just got promoted to the top division for the first time in their history, and now they're on top of the table after 3 games with 9 goals scored. That means, by my math, they're averaging 3 goals a game. So take some goddamn notes on how it's done, Zolos Cholos. All right, I am done until tomorrow, when the best Premier League preview on the internet is dropped. Later.